Hey there, and welcome to making Tabletop, the Jedi Knight. And this guy's going to be a Wiphid. Wiphids are hard to come by miniature wise, and most of them are just kind of broody looking Wiphids with going rah. But this is actually a Wiphid aesthetic, so he's kind of going to be sculpted just walking kind of casually. All of the miniatures I'm making, I want to have the sabers out as such, because you know, Jedis, you want to see the sabers, and they're going to be mostly being used in combat situations. So makes sense that their saber would be active. But this guy, I just want to have him strolling forward, almost casually, just sort of batting some kind of blaster fire away or parrying somebody, but just as a casual stroll, because of the nature of the character as he was described, as he is an aesthetic. He is not a super aggressive Jedi Knight. You know, he's get in everybody's way and be like, no, stop, kind of a Jedi Knight. And I want that to be seen in the sculpt. So I'm going to crack on with this and start bulking him out. It should be fatter around the wrists than around the arms. But he's going to end up robed, but it's still at this point need to bulk out just to give something to fit the robes around so that everything is scaled correctly. Here then are the drawings for, I keep wanting to say Chakotay from Star Trek, but it's not, it's Tabletop. It's all very confusing. The Wiphid character, and actually, strangely, considering it's kind of the simplest, found this the hardest one to deal with in terms of posing, but decided to go with this kind of a pose. It felt like the most in line with the character description. The character description is an aesthetic, somebody who carries very little, because there's a whole load of things to do with the aesthetic, where not having possessions is an important part of it. The player has actually said, basically I just want to be wearing my robes, carrying a lightsaber, and never have anything more. And being a Wiphid character means you can actually survive long periods of time without eating, compared to most other, like he can go a few weeks without eating, which all fits with the idea of this sort of slow paced character which is in no rush to do anything. So I really like the idea of having just a sort of walking pose where he's walking forward. He's very calm looking, considering he has a Wiphid war face, and just with the arm up and the sort of saber upside down, as if casually parrying, or not casually, but yeah, casually, no, not casually, carefully, methodically would probably be a better way of putting it than casually. And that's what I want to bring through in the miniature in the finals when the sculpt is done. So hopefully, again, simple forms, furry arms, and hopefully it'll come out well. Here's the first pass on the Wiphid then, and this is essentially just a case of bulking up flesh. We've put in a six pack, we've put in the crotch, pectorals, shoulder. Started to just put a little bit into the top where there's a sort of small muscle from the inner thigh. We've got the lats down the back here, and then the lower back and bum. Kind of did this because this guy's meant to be quite big, and so I'm trying to bulk him out enough to make him feel big, but without making the miniature too tall. So they're like, you know, like a 6'3" human, 6'4" human, but very heavy set. So they're kind of big, but they're not gigantic big. And it's getting that feel in the fleshing out process. And so you can see just making body core and then expanding out from the body core. Here's the second pass on a Wiphid, and you notice that it managed to get the thighs and calves all done, so we managed to get all the way down to the feet. And you'll notice that there are 3 sticky outy crappy looking bits on the feet, and these are not the actual toes. They have 3 claws on each, so these little bits down here, those little sticky outy bits are the bits to build the claws from, rather than the actual claws themselves. The other thing you might notice is he's got a sort of tentacle arm going on, and that's because I suddenly realised that a bit of wire basically stops in his elbow there, and I needed to extend that arm a bit longer. Also, extra bits on the shoulders. And this is to I just wanted the bulk in the shoulders. I was looking at Wiphids and they're like quite narrow upper arms, bulky shoulders, bulky forearms, bulky around the ankles, narrower in the upper legs. So I just wanted to keep the muscle mass. Now the other thing you might want to do at this point, if you are doing stuff, if and it was a naked as such, is you would bulk out this bit here, because you'd find that there's muscle that runs around the side, and it's the edge of the rib cage that runs around there. But because I'm going to be covering this with robes, that doesn't matter. This is just for getting the sort of underneath bulking correct. Here we go then. We've added in the 2 forearms just to get him ready to go, also give him a bit of a neck to work his head from, so that when putting in the robes, leave a space, because we'll probably end up building his head last over the top of his robes, much like with other Jedi with big heads. Chevin has quite a big head, it's like a very boar-like head, and you'll notice that the right arm, this one at the front here, hasn't got any fingers or anything, and that's because it needs to have a saber put in, which will be next time. And the other one, although they're not complete, it has the beginnings of the 3 digits, much like the beginnings of the 3 claws. So it's basically kind of mapped in. I've got something to build from, which is firmly attached to the rest of the mini. So I hope this has been some interest to you, and all your green stuff's going really well. Thank you for watching, have a good one, and take care. Bye bye.